Hi there, this is Jameson Peck, Chief Financial Strategist of LEXOR Financial. And today I want to clue you in on what factors to consider before picking the right college for your son or daughter. And in this demonstration, I'm going to show you an example that I'm confident may very well surprise you. And I'll get to that in just a couple minutes. Now, understand that if you have attended one of our college funding workshops, you should have a much easier time following along because you should by now be more comfortable with some of the terminology I'll be using. If you haven't attended a workshop yet, first I would highly suggest that you do that. On our website and Facebook page, you can see what dates and times our upcoming workshops are. And remember also that these are always free. But for those of you unfamiliar with financial aid terminology, I will do my best to explain some of the terms and acronyms I'll be using today. So for this example, we're still using good old Bob and June example. And also their son, Alex, who is currently a junior in high school. Now, like many parents we work with, Bob and June fell off course pretty early in adequately preparing for the big task ahead of paying for college for their kids. All right, let me quickly take you through their current financial situation. As you can see, we have 4 total people in the household. That's mom and dad, Bob and June and Bob, and their 2 kids, with Alex being the older of the 2. Bob is 51 years old, June 49. Alex will begin college in the fall of 2012. Okay, here we have Bob and June's taxable income summary. Bob grossed $48,000 at his job. June grossed $29,000. One important factor I'll talk more of shortly is that they have some CDs, certificates of deposit. So the interest earned for the year was $960 in their CDs. And here's their calculated taxes owed at their present position. All right, let's move on. Here we show Bob and June contributed to their 401ks offered at their jobs. This is the total amount contributed by both Bob and June for the year. Now, if you attended a workshop, you already know that qualified retirement accounts, such as 401ks, are not included in the asset formula for the FAFSA. But, however, Bob and June's contributions to their 401ks will be counted in the base years as far as income goes. All right, this is a quick summary of the parents' assets. As I stated earlier, they have CDs, and the CDs total out values $80,000. They also have $11,000 in a savings account and $4,000 in a checking account. Here's the total of those asset accounts, which comes to $95,000. Now, Bob and June also started a 529 plan a few years ago, and at this point have a total of $18,000 in the 529. So the total of all these accounts, we have $113,000. Okay, on to Alex's contribution. Alex has a part-time job, and for the year earned a total of $2,100. Now again, if you are a client of ours or at least attended a workshop in the past, you know that this amount, the $2,100, is not enough to hurt this family's financial aid eligibility as far as student income. Okay, this page contains the dollar amount Bob and June really need to pay a close attention to. It is their expected contribution towards Alex's college costs according to the federal formula used on the FAFSA form, the free application for federal student aid. They must complete this form to receive any type of financial aid. And based on their income and assets as reported, if Alex was to begin college this fall, their expected parent contribution would be $14,934. Remember, that's the amount of money the government says that this family can afford to pay for Alex's first year of college. But because Alex is currently only a junior in high school, by the time he begins college, which will be in about 18 months, we have to adjust the numbers for inflation. So if Bob and June's income and assets remain the same as they are now, their actual expected contribution will be closer to $16,780. Remember, it's important to adjust for inflation so that there are no surprises in cost when the time to pay for college arrives. Now, those of you who are clients know that we may be able to reduce this family's amount, their EFC, by repositioning some of those assets. And I'll come back to this topic shortly. Now, keep in mind that the EFC, or expected family contribution, may just be the minimum amount of money the family will pay for each year of Alex's college costs. Now, the EFC takes into account the student's contribution as well as the parent contribution we just covered. Again, if Alex was starting college this coming fall, the family's EFC would be $14,934. Again, that's the amount of money the government says that this family can afford to pay per year of college. But the family may have to pay more than that. In our February College Keystone newsletter we sent out, we discussed the financial gap, as we call it, that oftentimes can cost parents significantly more than just the EFC amount. And by the way, if you aren't signed up for our free newsletters, you need to do that, and you can do that on the homepage of our website. But back to the gap. This gap we're referring to has to do with the shortage of the financial need a college will often leave in their award packages given out to students. Now, to save time, if you don't know what I'm referring to, send us an email and we'll send you the February newsletter that contains more on this topic. Okay, now that we have an estimate of this family's EFC, it's time to look at some of this family's target schools. For this example, and because we're in Tennessee, we listed here some of the more popular schools in our area. So we have University of Tennessee Chattanooga, University of Tennessee Knoxville, Carson-Newman, a popular private college in Jefferson City, Middle Tennessee State University in Murfreesboro, and Vanderbilt University in Nashville. Now, if you notice this row, the cost of attendance per school, at first glance, most parents probably don't believe that they can afford Vanderbilt because, as you can see, currently the cost of attendance per year is almost $57,000. But using Bob and June's financial situation, I'm going to show you how Vanderbilt can by far be the least expensive school on this list. You're probably thinking that's impossible, right? But you need to pay attention. Now, as far as cost goes, I want to make sure you understand the cost of attendance includes tuition, room and board, books, fees, transportation, and miscellaneous costs. And we've got those highlighted per school. So here we show, now remember that we have to inflate the numbers to get a clear picture of what the cost of attendance will be at the time Alex starts college in 2012. So if we inflate each school's cost of attendance by 6% per year, here's what those numbers could look like more accurately at that time. Remember, we also have inflated the family's EFC according to how that particular school judges a family's financial aid eligibility. And then below that, we have the family's financial aid eligibility, okay, or family's financial need, as we often call it, at each school. Again, judging from this, most families would not think Vanderbilt would be the least out-of-pocket school on this list. Now, before we go any further, I stated earlier that this family could possibly do better in regards to financial aid eligibility. Remember the assets that had to be accounted for Bob and June? Those included the CDs that totaled $80,000. Well, by simply repositioning the CDs into an asset that is not included in the financial aid calculation, or what we call is financial aid invisible, here's what that could do for the family in regards to their aid eligibility. Now, before the aid, or before the reposition, their current EFC would be $14,934. But after the reposition, their EFC drops to just over $11,000. So now $11,002 would be what the government expects this family to pay for college, no longer the $14,934. That's a pretty substantial difference there, especially when you consider that over 4 years, that's $15,728 in increased aid eligibility just by that reposition. Now, there are a couple other areas in Bob and June's financial situation that could be improved or become more efficient, but for this example, we'll just stick with the reposition. So with our new and improved EFC, let's compare each school to see just how much the family can anticipate in paying at that respective school. So here at the top, we have each of the 5 schools on our comparison list, and below that is the same data we saw earlier. Now as I scroll down to the after what if potential aid, you will see 2012's estimated cost of attendance at each school and also the family's EFC at each school, the same numbers we saw earlier. Again, both of these are adjusted for inflation. Now the difference of the cost of attendance and their EFC at each respective school is given here. Okay, the aid eligibility. We cover this in more detail at the workshops, but what you need to understand is, in regards to how much financial aid you can expect, a school on average will only meet a percentage of a family's financial need, this row. And then that percentage will either comprise of gift aid or self-help aid, or often a mixture of the two. So what we're doing here is taking a school's statistics from the previous year and looking at averages on what they did for their last year's incoming freshmen on average, so we can attempt to get an accurate picture of what to expect with that school's award letter. So with this info, we can estimate a family's actual out-of-pocket costs at a particular school. So again, I want to point out, each column represents the schools on our list. So this first column is UT Chattanooga, second column UT Knoxville, third column Carson-Newman, fourth column Middle Tennessee State University, and fifth column Vanderbilt. What you want to look at is here, immediate cost. This is first year's out-of-pocket costs for this family at each school. And check out the last column for Vanderbilt, $9,404. How can that be? Because I just told you that, Vanderbilt has a cost of attendance of almost $57,000. Actually, at that time, if we inflate that for 2012, we're looking at $67,452. But also when you factor in how well that school does with their award packages, how much of the need is met, how much is in gift aid, how much is in self-help aid, and so forth, your true out-of-pocket costs at each school may surprise you. And actually, Vanderbilt is right at $5,000 less than the next least out-of-pocket school, being UT Chattanooga. Most families that would see this chart and actually see the truth behind what a school costs are typically very surprised at this comparison, because I just showed you how a school that costs $57,000 per year can end up being $5,000 less a year than a school that costs $20,000 per year. Now understand that we're in the business of helping families save thousands on their college costs. The first step for you to achieve that kind of success is to either attend a free workshop in your area or come see us for a free 1-hour consultation. We've seen time and time again families that try to do this stuff on their own, and many times they overspend because they make dangerous assumptions, just like the example I just showed you. Remember, college is one of the biggest expenses your family will ever face. Why try to handle it without a plan? So you can contact us from the contact page on our website. If you have any questions, we'll be more than happy to answer them. If you want to schedule a consultation, or check out the website for our free upcoming workshops. Again, I want to thank you guys for watching this video. I hope this has been helpful. I look forward to talking with you soon, and remember, don't pay retail for college.